United Nations Human Rights Commission meant the highest government authorities. The authorities in question are unprecedented in the history of Bangladesh. The nature and extent of cruelty administered upon the protesters, inclusive of infants, women, and old, spared the hearts of the people throughout the world. On seeing the scenario of death and injured protesters and their outcry in the videos displayed in the courtroom, and also seeing the victim witnesses in the courtroom, for giving testimony, who lost their scalp, eyes, nose, hands, and legs. Any human being will fail to be in the normal state of mind seeing such scenario. Such atrocities must be brought to an end at any cost. Justice must not fail. In view of all the above facts and circumstances and findings, it is hereby ordered that accused Sheikh Hasina be found guilty on 3 counts under charge 1. Count number 1, incitement. Count number 2, order to kill. Count number 3, election to prevent the atrocities and failing to take punitive actions against the perpetrators, and thus she is punishable. She is liable to punish under Section 3, Subsection 1A, Section 3, Subsection 2, Clause G, Section 3, Subsection 2, Clause H, Section 4, Subsection 1, Clause B, and Section 4, Subsection 3 of the Intentional Crimes Tribunals Act 1973 under the charge number 1. But we will hold that for all these 3 counts of crime against humanity, we will incline to award a single sentence, that is, the sentence of imprisonment till natural death for under charge 1. Under charge 2, accused Sheikh Hasina is liable on 2 counts. On 1 count, there are several counts, but 1 count, that is, passing the order for deploying drones, helicopters, and using lethal weapons against the protesters. She committed crime against humanity under Section 3, Subsection 2A and Section 4, Subsection 1B of the International Crimes Tribunal Act 1973. She also committed the same crime against the same kind of crime against humanity on the second count of Second count, killing 6 persons at Santapur of Dhaka. He was committed in contemplation, in forbearance by virtue of her order, as stated before him. And similarly, she committed the same crime, that is the crime against humanity, on another count for causing the killings at Ashulia of Sabah, killing of 6 persons. For all these 3 counts, we have decided to inflict her with only one sentence, that is sentence of death. Please.
The Honorable Attorney General referred to the conviction and sentence of many of the heads of government and states in the world for their commission of crimes against humanity, and thereupon he asked for awarding maximum punishment to the accused of the instant case, so that no other Prime Minister or the head of state regards such atrocities in the days to come. Summing up by the Learned State Defense, Mr. Amir Hussain, the Learned State Defense Council argued that accused Sheikh Hasina and Atrocities Kamal are quite innocent. The accused did not incite or order or participate or abet the commission of the crimes against humanity in question. The trial itself against the accused under the International Crimes Tribunal Act 1973 is unlawful since the act was passed for the purpose of trial of the persons who committed genocide in 1971. Allegedly, the atrocities spread throughout the country, but the prosecution failed to examine witnesses of all the districts where atrocities took place. The Learned Defense Council submitted that no helicopter was used to kill the protesting students and public in the July-August movement 2024. The audio conversations in question have not been duly examined by the experts. Although the audios have been examined by CID, the same should have been examined by some more experts. He questioned the prosecution's claim as to the number of the deaths and injured. He stated that although the prosecution claimed that 1,500 protesters died and 25,000 injured, but the gathered notifications of the government shows that the number of dead protesters as about 800. He emphatically asserted that accused Sheikh Hasina did neither incite nor order nor take part in the alleged atrocities or crimes against humanity. Mr. Amir Hussain vehemently opposed the words of the Islamic chief prosecutor terming Sheikh Hasina and Atrocities Kamal as fascist. He also opposed the assertion of the Islamic chief prosecutor that Sheikh Hasina fled to Delhi due to the commission of the crimes against humanity by the mass movement. Rather, she was compelled to depart the country against her will. The Learned State Defense Council argued that the attack in question was neither widespread nor systematic nor directed against the civilian population. The Learned State Defense Council further submitted that the accused Sheikh Hasina and Atrocities Kamal cannot be held liable for joint criminal enterprise or superior command responsibilities. He finally submitted that accused Sheikh Hasina and Atrocities Kamal are quite innocent, and as such, they deserve to be acquitted of the charges. Now, the Honorable Chairman of the Tribunal, Mr. Justice Chaudhary, will read out the final portion of the judgment. Thank you.
I will start with some methods of judicial notice. And before that, I am sorry that I did not mention the name of learned prosecutor Abdus Subhan, Mr. Abdus Subhan Saratbhai. Sometimes he has found here. I think he remains busy in the tribunal too.
For his illness.
Right?
For his sudden
And you have seen sometimes here to assist us. So our thanks to him as well. We have taken judicial notice of some incidents. Number one, accused Sheikh Hasina started making contemptuous and hate speeches in the social media subsequent to the July movement 2024, whereupon she was ordered by this tribunal to be restrained from such speeches of contempt and hatred. Secondly, in a telephonic conversation with a party activist named Mr. Sheikh, accused Sheikh Hasina, infringing tribunal's order, made some hateful and contemptuous remarks, asking said activist Sheikh to kill 226 persons, as 226 cases have been filed against her, and to burn the houses of the rival people, whereupon this tribunal convicted her for contempt of the tribunal and sentenced her to 6 months imprisonment. Another one, the tribunal has come to notice one of her interviews published in a daily star a few days ago. The date has not been noted here, in which she impliedly admitted that atrocities had certainly taken place in July movement 2024. But she denied that she ordered to commit such atrocities. It is further been noticed by the tribunal that in another interview with a YouTube channel named Desh Shama of India, accused Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina admitted her responsibility for the July 24 atrocities in the words within quotation, as the leader of the country, I assume ultimate leadership responsibility. Furthermore, we have noticed that Sheikh Hasina made an interview with Daily Anand Azhar of India on 7 November 25, wherein she admitted her superior command responsibility. So you may find the newspaper. Now I will start with our observations and inference. From the following findings, facts and circumstances, it transpires that the students of Dhaka University and other academic institutions had launched a movement on 1 July 2024, demanding reformation in the quota system in the government jobs, and continued the same till 5 August 2024. The government did not pay heed to the demands of the students. Instead of listening to the students and fulfilling their demands, the then Prime Minister, accused Sheikh Hasina, undermined the movement and made a derogatory remark pointing towards the students, terming them Rajakars. The term is an observation. In Bangla, this is a Gali. In her words, মুক্তিযোদ্ধা নাতিপুতিরা চাকরি পাবে না তো রাজাকারের নাতিপুতিরা পাবে। As the aftermath of aforesaid observation and the derogatory remark of Sheikh Hasina, the students, including female students who were at the forefront of Dhaka University, marched into a rage and assembled at the Raju Bhaskarya. Apology. Accused Sheikh Hasina held a telephonic conversation with Dhaka University Vice Chancellor ASM Maksud Kamal, and in course of the conversation, Sheikh Hasina said, রাজাকারদের তো ফাঁসি দিয়েছি, এবার তোদেরও তাই করব, একটাও ছাড়বো না, আমি বলে দিচ্ছি। Razakars are the hanged, now they also will be hanged, none will be spared. I have already ordered. This is the translation. She again said, রাজাকারদের কি অবস্থা হয়েছে দেখিস না, সবগুলোকে ফাঁসি দিছি, এইবার তোদেরও ছাড়বো না। In the same conversation, Sheikh Hasina further said, আমি বলে দিচ্ছি আজকে সহ্য করার পর অ্যারেস্ট করবে, ধরে নেবে এবং যা অ্যাকশন নেওয়া নেবে। And it is crystal clear that Sheikh Hasina expressed an incitement to the activists of her party Awami League and affiliates, Chhatr League and Yuva League, and also gave provocation to the protesters, and furthermore she expressed that she ordered to kill and eliminate the protesting students. The concerned pen drive CD containing the above conversation as well as the transcript thereof have been submitted in the tribunal. In addition to the above, on 15/7/2024, our League Secretary and Cabinet Minister Judicial made another provocative remark, saying, "Andolon Damane Chhatr League যথেষ্ট. Chhatr League is enough to control the movement." Whereupon the protesting students of Dhaka University burst into anger and vehemently protested against Sheikh Hasina, Ubaidul Qadir and the government. The activists of Chhatr League, Yuva League attacked the protesting students with various deadly weapons and severely injured hundreds of them, whereupon they had to be hospitalized. The attackers impeded the injured students proceeding to the hospital. The attackers made further attacks upon the students undergoing treatment in the hospital. In consequence of the above noted incitements of Sheikh Hasina, in the press conference on 14 July 2024, her order to kill them, as revealed in her conversation on the following night with Dhaka University Vice Chancellor, and also the provocative and aggressive remark of our League Secretary Judicial, the law enforcers and activists of Chhatri League and Yuva League attacked the protesting students at Dhaka University throughout the country, inclusive of Rangpur Raghunath University. And in furtherance thereof, police shot Raghunath University student Abu Said repeatedly at a close range. Whereupon he succumbed to the gunshots. The above-mentioned conversation of Sheikh Hasina with the Dhaka University Vice Chancellor S.M. Maksud Kamal has been examined by the experts in the CID Forensic Laboratory, and it appears from the report of the examination that the conversation was genuine and that the same had not been generated by artificial intelligence, AI. The concerned experts deposed in corroboration of the genuineness of the impugned conversation. Furthermore, we find support of such conversation in the reports of daily newspapers. In addition to the above, the concerned CD pen drive containing the conversations has been played in the courtroom in course of the proceeding, and thereupon the conversation seemed to be genuine. The remarks of Sheikh Hasina in the press conference on 14/7/24 has been watched by many people in the television channel and social media. Almost all the witnesses, while deposing in the tribunal, mentioned that they watched the videos in the media. Moreover, the national daily newspapers published the said remarks on 15/7/24. The remark of Ubaidul Kabir was published in the news over and above saying inciting remark and killing and order of killing by Sheikh Hasina and the provocative remark of Ubaidul Kabir have not been denied by them. Although State Defence Council, the lauded State Defence Council for the absconding accused Sheikh Hasina and Asaduddin Khan Kamal submitted that the conversation between Sheikh Hasina and ASM Kamal, Maksud Kamal, has not been properly tested, but he failed to show any cogent reasons in this regard. The prosecution witnesses proved the attack upon the Dhaka University students by the activists of Abu League, Chhatri League and Yuva League following the incitement and Sheikh Hasina's order of killing, as well as the provocative remark of Ubaidul Kabir. Sheikh Hasina ordered the law enforcement agencies to use drone for locating the congregating protesters and thus to use helicopter and lethal weapons to kill them. Such order has been disclosed by Sheikh Hasina in her telephonic conversation on 18/7/2024 with Dhaka South City Corporation Mayor Fazle Nur Thakur, as it has been read before, and also with Hassanul Haq Inno. The concerned pendrive CD containing the aforesaid conversations have been submitted in the tribunal. The said conversations have been examined in the forensic laboratory of CID, and the concerned experts found that the conversations were genuine and not generated by artificial intelligence, AI. Moreover, the pen drive CD containing the conversations in question have been played in the courtroom, and we have heard the conversations, and thereupon it appeared to us that the conversations are real, not fake and fabricated. Accused Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, accused Home Minister Asaduজ্জামান Khan Kamal, accused Inspector General of Police Chaudhry Abdullah Mamun acted jointly in connivance and collaboration with each other to commit the atrocities in order to kill the protesters throughout the country. It has been disclosed by Chaudhry Abdullah Al-Mamun in his testimony that a core committee consisting of Home Secretary Jahangir, Additional Home Secretary Political Mr. Tipu Sultan, Additional Secretary Reza Mustafa, SP's Chief Munirul Islam, DG Chief Harun Rashid, RAB DG Barrister Harun Rashid, DMP Commissioner Habibur Rahman, DG of DGP Major General AKM Major General Ashrafuzzaman Siddiqui, DG of Ansar Major General AKM Aminul Haq, NPMC Chief Major General Ziaullah Hassan, DG FI Chief and NSI Chief used to hold meeting every night after 19 July 2024 at the residence of Home Minister Asaduজ্জামান Khan Kamal. Accused Chaudhry Abdullah Al-Mamun said that instruction to the core committee used to come from the Prime Minister. He also said that at one stage of the movement, it was decided to use drone to locate the gathering of the protesters and to use helicopter and lethal weapons to control the movement. In a meeting of the core committee, Sheikh Hasina passed a direction to use lethal weapons. Additional DIG Jawardar, who was present there, communicated the message to the police officers throughout the country to use lethal weapons accordingly. Furthermore, Chaudhry Abdullah Mamun said that in pursuance of the remark of Obaidul Kadir and Nanak, that Chhatra League and Yuva League are enough to bring the movement under control. He further said that following such remarks, activists of Chhatra League and Yuva League attacked the students of Dhaka University. He also said that a lot of protesting students and public were killed by using drone, helicopter and lethal weapons throughout the country. Accused Chaudhry Abdullah Mamun further asserted in his testimony that he, along with Home Minister Asaduজ্জামান Khan Kamal, Home Secretary and DMP Commissioner, went to Nayanganj on 29/7/24 to observe the situation of the movement, and on the way they stayed for a while in front of the Tabari police station, and then DC Iqbal of Wari Zone showed a video to the Home Minister on his mobile and said, "We shoot one, that one dies, that one gets injured, but the others do not move." Therefore, it is perspicuous from the above that all the three accused led the operations against the protesting students and public jointly as a matter of joint criminal enterprise. As the aftermath of Sheikh Hasina's order, as well as the supervision and guidance of accused Home Minister Asaduজ্জামান Khan Kamal and IBP Chaudhary Abdullah Mahmood, the law enforcers and activists of Awami League, Chhatra League and Yuva League invaded the protesting students and public throughout the country by using drone, helicopter and lethal weapons, causing death to about 1,500, inclusive of 6 protesters at Sankapur, Dhaka, namely Shahir Khan Anas, Mahdi Hassan Junaid, and the Yakub and the Rakib Hawladar Muhammad Ismail Haq, Malik Mia alias Shahari, and another 6 protesters at Ashuria Sabah, namely Sajjad Hussain, Sodol, Ashabu, Tanzil Mahmud, Sujar, Bayezid Bustami, Abu Hussain, and another unidentified protester near Dhaka, and caused grievous injuries to about 25,000 of them. In Ashuria, the aforesaid 5 dead bodies and another body of an unidentified injured protester were burned with petrol by police. The law enforcers and the activists of Awami League and those of its affiliated organizations named Chhatra League and Yuva League killed and injured the protesting students and members of the public with lethal weapons like SMG, LMG, China rifle, shotgun, 9mm pistol, 7.62 pistol, both on the ground as well as from the helicopters from above the ground. The atrocities were committed by incitement, order, abatement, and failure to take preventive and punitive measures of the accused Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, accused Home Minister Asaduzzaman Khan Kamal, accused Inspector General of Police Chaudhary Abdullah Mahmood, and by the abatement, age, and perpetration of the underlings, that is the subordinates. Some of the injured victims, members of the families of dead and injured protesters, other eyewitnesses from different parts of the country, because in support of the atrocities of killing and injuring hundreds and thousands of protesters all over the country. Under the foregoing facts and circumstances, it has ostensibly been substantiated that the atrocities of killing and gravely injuring the protesting students and public took place almost all over the country. In view of the testimony of the investigating officer, the atrocities during the July movement 2024, the atrocities occurred in 50 districts and lethal weapons were used in 41 districts of Bangladesh. We also find that victim witnesses from many districts testified in the tribunal stating that killing and injuring the students and common people took place in their respective districts during July movement 2024. Thus, it is clear enough that the attack in question was directed against civilian population, and it was widespread and systematic. Therefore, in the atrocities of killing and gravely injuring the protesters, as aforesaid, accused Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina committed crimes against humanity by her incitement, order, and also failure to take preventive and punitive measures under charge 1. Accused Sheikh Hasina committed one count of crimes against humanity by her order to use drones, helicopter, and lethal weapons under charge number 2. Count 1. Accused Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina committed crimes against humanity on one count under charge 1. Accused Asaduddin Khan Kamal and Chaudhry Abdullah Mamun committed crimes against humanity by their abatement in the use of drones, helicopter, and lethal weapons under charge number 2. Count 2. Accused Asaduddin Kamal and Chaudhry Abdullah Mamun committed 2 counts of crime against humanity under the same charge by their abatements and failure to prevent the atrocities at Sankarpur, Dhaka, and also committed crimes against humanity by their abatements and failure to prevent the atrocities in Ashulia, Sabah, Dhaka under the same charge. Accused Sheikh Hasina, the Prime Minister and the President of Awami League and the controlling authority of all affiliated organizations, was the superior commander of the said party leaders and activists, as well as the Home Minister and Inspector General of Police, that is accused Sheikh Hasina and 2 other accused were in the superior and subordinate relationship. On the other hand, the Home Minister was the superior of the Inspector General of Police, that is, they are in the superior and subordinate relationship. As required to be an element as required by the provisions of Rome Statute. In the like way, all the police officers are subordinate to the Inspector General of Police. They work under him. Thus, it is apparent that accused Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina had superior control status over accused Asaduddin Khan Kamal and accused Chaudhry Abdullah Al Mamun. Whereupon, it was her responsibility to take measures to prevent the atrocities in question, which continued for about a month. She did not also take any punitive measures against the perpetrators. In the like way, Home Minister Asaduddin Khan Kamal held superior command responsibility over the Inspector General of Police and other successive other officers, and as such he had the responsibility, superior command responsibility to prevent all of them from committing the atrocities and for taking punitive measures against the perpetrators. Thus, both the accused, Asaduddin Khan Kamal and Inspector General of Police Chaudhry Abdullah Al Mamun, they committed crimes against humanity by their abatement, that is facilitation, and their failure to prevent the atrocities committed by their underlings, and hence they are liable to be punished under Section 3(2) A, C to G, G to H, 41B and 43 of the International Crime Tribunal Act. Accused Sheikh Hasina is liable to be punished under Section 32A, 32H, 41B and 43 of the International Crime Tribunal Act 1973. It is obvious from the facts and circumstances delineated herein before that the law enforcers and the activists of ruling party only, as well as its affiliated organizations, targeted the unarmed civilian protesters countrywide and accordingly attacked them. Therefore, in all the above discussed atrocities, the elements constituting crime against humanity have been fulfilled. The victim witnesses, the other witnesses and the investigating officer held the accused Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, accused Home Minister Asadullah Khan Kamal and the accused Inspector General of Police Chaudhry Abdullah Mahmood liable for the atrocities. It may be mentioned here that Mr. Chaudhry Abdullah Mahmood, Inspector General of Police, has been tendered pardon on his application pursuant to Section 15 of the Act, with a view to obtaining his evidence. He is supposed to have been directly or indirectly concerned in or privy to any of the crimes specified in Section 3 on condition of his making a full and true disclosure of the whole of the circumstances within his knowledge related to the crime and to every other person concerned, whether as principal or abettor in the commission thereof. According to subsection 2 and 3 of Section 15, he has been examined as a witness and detained in custody until today. It appears to the tribunal that he made a full and true disclosure of whole of the circumstances within his knowledge related to the crime and to every other person concerned, both as principal and abettor in the commission thereof. He categorically admitted his involvement in the alleged acts and disclosed that a core committee consisting of Home Minister Asadullah Khan Kamal himself used to hold meeting every day at the residence of accused Home Minister Asadullah Khan Kamal to take decisions as to the necessary measures to face the movement of the students and to pass the instructions and to pass necessary instructions. He said that accused Prime Minister used to pass directions to the core committee in this regard. These accused also said that Sheikh Hasina directed them to use drones to trace the location of the protester and to use helicopter and lethal weapons to kill the protesters. He mentioned that chain of command in the police service was not maintained. In most of the cases, the highest authority used to communicate or contact the mid-level officers like Additional Commissioner Harun Rashid, Additional Commissioner Mominul Islam. Accused Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina passed the direction in presence of Additional Deputy Commissioner Paul Kumar Jawabdar during a core committee meeting. And as such, Jawabdar conveyed the direction to all the concerned officers throughout the country. Direction means the direction to use helicopter and lethal weapons as well as drones. Chaudhry Abdullah Al-Mamun also mentioned in his testimony that he had a clean image and track record throughout his service for long 36 years. There had been no allegation against him during his long tenure. He said that he feels remorseful and ashamed on seeing the atrocities in the videos displayed in the courtroom. He sought apology to the tribunal and to the people of the country. All the accused Chaudhry Abdullah Mamun claimed to have made full disclosure of the circumstances. And we do also believe that he made a full and true disclosure. But the offences he committed and admitted is punishable with the capital sentence. And as such, in consideration of his disclosure and the gravity of the offences, we will incline to convict him and award him a lenient sentence, which will be declared later on. By the aforesaid acts and omissions, the accused committed crimes against humanity under section 3(2)(a) subsection D clause 8 or 1 4 2 4 3 of the International Crime Tribunal Act 3, as stated before. Accused Sheikh Hasina and Assaduddin Khan remained in abscondence at initial, despite the fact that notices and warrants were duly served in their given address according to law. Moreover, they were asked by publishing notice in 2 daily newspapers to appear and contest the case, but they did not turn up. Thus, their abscondence itself is suggestive of their guilt. The learned State Defence Council contended that the trial of the accused persons under the International Crimes Tribunal Act 1973 is not tenable, since the Act was passed in the Parliament for the purpose of trial of the criminals of War of Independence in 1971. While arguing this, the learned State Defence Council perhaps did not have a perusal of the provisions of the Act as well as the preamble thereof. The preamble of the Act says that the Act was made in order to provide for detention, prosecution, and punishment of the persons for genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and other crimes under international law, and for the matters connected therewith. Section 3 of the Act provides that the said crimes committed both before and after the commencement of the Act, before 1973, after 1973, are triable by the International Crimes Tribunal. Whereupon the contention of the learned State Defence Council is not tenable in law. Moreover, Article 47 of the Constitution of Bangladesh has given upper hand to the International Crimes Tribunal Act 1973 over the Constitution itself. The State Defence Council also contended that for the purpose of proving atrocities throughout the country, Witnesses from all over the country have not been examined. In this context, we have to say that witnesses from many parts of the country have been examined and they have adequately proved the atrocities in almost every part of the country. The victims, the family members of the dead and injured protesters, as well as the eyewitnesses, gave their testimony, which are enough for the proof of the charges. Quantity of witnesses is immaterial, while there are small number of qualitative witnesses. Still, the number of 54 witnesses examined by the prosecution is not small. The London State Defence Council also alleged that the audio conversations in question have not been examined by more than one department like CID. In this regard, we would hold that the genuineness of the report of CID has not been challenged, nor has the report been proved ingenuine, whereupon no other department was in need of holding further examination thereof. It is the further allegation of the Land and State Defence Council that accused Sheikh Hasina and Sultan Khan Kamal did not incite or order the commission of the crimes against humanity as alleged, nor did participate in the commission thereof, and thus they deserve to be acquitted. The learned chief prosecutor, in course of summing up, asked for passing necessary order restraining Awami League from running activities as a political party. Although the prosecution depicted series of words deeds of Awami League regime in the language of the prosecution, since achievement of independence of Bangladesh in 1971, the tribunal does not incline to discuss on this point, since this is not the issue of the instant case. It has come to the notice of the tribunal that accused Sheikh Hasina, in defiance of the orders of the tribunal to appear and contest the case, has given interviews in the media wherein she denied the allegations leveled against her in this case, and also made some derogatory remarks. I have noted this aspect beforehand, but in some of her interviews, she impliedly admitted her superior command responsibility. The United Nations Human Rights Commission categorically stated in its report that the political leaders issued direct orders and other directives authorizing and guiding operations by BGB, RAF, DGFI, Bangladesh Police, and detective branch that involved serious violations of human rights against protesters and other civilians, including extrajudicial killings and arbitrary detention. It has been stated in the report that 1,400 people have been killed by use of lethal weapons during the July movement 2024. By the political leaders, the United Nations Human Rights Commission meant the highest government authorities. The authorities in question are unprecedented in the history of Bangladesh the nature and extent of cruelty administered upon the protesters, inclusive of infants, women, and old, spared the hearts of the people throughout the world. On seeing the scenario of death and injured protesters and their outcry in the videos displayed in the courtroom, and also seeing the victim witnesses in the courtroom, for giving testimony, who lost their scalp, eyes, nose, hands, and legs. Any human being will fail to be in the normal state of mind seeing such scenario. Such atrocities must be brought to an end at any cost. Justice must not fail. In view of all the above facts and circumstances and findings, it is hereby ordered that accused Sheikh Hasina be found guilty on 3 counts under charge 1. Count number 1, incitement. Count number 2, order to kill. Count number 3, inaction to prevent the atrocities and failing to take punitive actions against the perpetrators. And thus, she is punishable. She is liable to punish under section 3, subsection 1A, section 3, subsection 2, clause G, section 3, subsection 2, clause H, section 4, subsection 1, clause B, and section 4, subsection 3 of the Intentional Crimes Tribunals Act 1973 under the charge number 1. But we will hold that for all these 3 counts of crime against humanity, we do incline to award a single sentence, that is, the sentence of imprisonment till natural death for under charge 1. Under charge 2, accused Sheikh Hasina is liable on 2 counts. On 1 count, there are several counts, but 1 count, that is passing the order for deploying drones, helicopters, and using lethal weapons against the protesters. She committed crime against humanity under section 3, subsection 2A and section 4, subsection 1B of the International Crimes Tribunal Act 1973. She also committed the same crime against the same crime of crime against humanity on the second count killing 6 persons at Santa Dhaka. He was committed in contemplation, in forbearance by virtue of her order, as stated before him. And similarly, she committed the same crime, that is the crime against humanity, on another count for causing the killings at Ashulia of Sabah, killing of 6 persons. For all these 3 counts, we have decided to inflict her with only one sentence, that is sentence of death. Please.
The Honorable Attorney General referred to the conviction and sentence of many of the heads of government and states in the world for their commission of crimes against humanity, and thereupon he asked for awarding maximum punishment to the accused of the instant case, so that no other prime minister or the head of state regards such atrocities in the days to come. Summing up by the learned State Defense, Mr. Amir Hussain, the learned State Defense Council argued that accused Sheikh Hasina and Atrocities Kamal are quite innocent. The accused did not incite or order or participate or abet the commission of the crimes against humanity in question. The trial except against the accused under the International Crimes Tribunal Act 1973 is unlawful since the act was passed for the purpose of trial of the persons who committed genocide in 1971. Allegedly, the atrocities spread throughout the country, but the prosecution failed to examine witnesses of all the districts where atrocities took place. The Learned Defense Council submitted that no helicopter was used to kill the protesting students and public in the July-August movement 2024. The audio conversations in question have not been duly examined by the experts. Although the audios have been examined by CID, the same should have been examined by some more experts. He questioned the prosecution's claim as to the number of the deaths and injured. He stated that although the prosecution claimed that 1,500 protesters died and 25,000 injured, but the gathered notifications of the government shows that the number of dead protesters is about 800. He emphatically asserted that accused Sheikh Hasina did neither incite nor order nor take part in the alleged atrocities or crimes against humanity. Mr. Amir Hussain vehemently opposed the words of the Learned Chief Prosecutor terming Sheikh Hasina and Atrocities Kamal as fascist. He also opposed the assertion of the Learned Chief Prosecutor that Sheikh Hasina fled to Delhi due to the commission of the crimes against humanity by the mass movement. Rather, she was compelled to depart the country against her will. The Learned State Defense Council argued that the attack in question was neither widespread nor systematic nor directed against the civilian population. The Learned State Defense Council further submitted that the accused Sheikh Hasina and Atrocities Kamal cannot be held liable for joint criminal enterprise or superior command responsibilities. He finally submitted that accused Sheikh Hasina and Atrocities Kamal are quite innocent, and as such, they deserve to be acquitted of the charges. Now, the Honorable Chairman of the Tribunal, Mr. Justice Murtala Chaudhary, will read out the final portion of the judge. I will start with
some methods of judicial notice. And before that, I am sorry that I did not mention the name of learned prosecutor Abdul Subhan, Mr. Abdul Subhan Tarakar. Sometimes he has found here. I think he remains busy in the seven and two.
For his illness. For the sudden.
And you are seeing sometimes here, the sisters. So, our thanks to him as well. We have taken judicial notice of some incidents. Number 1, accused Sheikh Hasina started.
The Honorable Attorney General referred to the conviction and sentence of many of the heads of government. The Honorable Attorney General referred to the conviction and sentence of many of the heads of government and states in the world for their commission of crimes against humanity, and thereupon he asked for awarding maximum punishment to the accused of the